And everyone, welcome back. Hope everyone had a good long weekend, had a good Friday off. Was able to get in a little bit of back testing this weekend, but also able to spend some time with friends and family, and just good to take a break from the charts, I guess. But hopefully everyone's ready for a good week of trading here. We'll go over the calendar in just a moment, and we'll give everyone just a couple more minutes, and then we'll get going. Hello, good morning, Richard and Chuck. Yes, Richard, you're right. I have been playing around with the software this morning or this weekend. I also played around with charting colors, and so I'm trying the Charlotte Hornet theme colored pattern for this week, and we'll see how it goes. See if it sticks. If it I don't know if it speaks to me. I'll try a couple of days of trading, and if I like looking at the candles, then I'll keep it. Otherwise, I'll give another combination a twirl. Hey, Robin. Good morning. All right, let's take a look over here and let's grab the calendar here for a second. All right, so this morning we have high impact news at 10. So remember last week, oddly enough, we had something on Friday, even though the market was closed globally. And so so what ended up happening is, I don't know if you noticed, but yesterday at 1800, when the markets reopened, we had a nice little spike there. And I'm going to assume that had something to do with the Friday news that we weren't able to participate in. And then tomorrow we have the same thing, 10 a.m. We have another high impact news event for the JOLTS job opening. Wednesday gives a few more events where we have a high impact at 8:15, high impact at 10, and then Fed Chair Powell is speaking at 12:10. So that'll be another high impact news event during the lunch hour. Then we come in on Thursday, high impact at 8:30 a.m., then just medium impact for the rest of the day. And then, of course, Friday is NFP. So this is the first Friday of the month. So this is NFP week. Non-farm payroll will be announced where we get the chance to see what the changes in employment was, excluding farming. So that's the unemployment rate, average hour earnings, and then a non-farm employment change. So we have a busy week. We have a high impact news event every single day. Usually we get Monday or Friday off, sometimes both. Here we go. Here on the daily the daily chart, we had price trade up on Thursday into the volume imbalance and reject out, closing much lower in about half of the daily range. It closed about half of the daily range down. We had it again so far. We reached up and just barely touched the volume imbalance, and we've already seen price pull back a little bit. So we'll keep monitoring to see if it wants to break through, trade above, and reach for these the swing high right here that was created in mid-February. Or if it doesn't, it'll reject here, and we'll start seeing it push lower, and we'll get lower prices and maybe just a little consolidation sideways. But we'll see. This is the last 4-day trend we have. So it's traded above the swing high here twice so far. And on Thursday, it actually closed above. So I really could delete this. All right, let's get down to ES and see where we are. Okay, so far a decent sized candle for it only being roughly 12 hours of trading so far. But I have also had a big rejection after taking the swing high. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a new all-time high for ES. Right, it made it to 5333.5. All right, that's interesting. We've already taken last week's high and also previous day high and all of that before opening hours on Monday. So let's see if that brings lower prices because of it. Let's see if the same thing happened on Nasdaq. Okay, so it did not. We had a failure to take a swing high, not to mention the all-time high is up here. But Nasdaq is also failing from the overnight high, and now we're back into the fair value gap that's just below. All right, so we'll see if the dollar wants to go higher and if the indices want to go lower, or if we're going to get the opposite movement. But we'll wait for, we have the opening bell in just a couple minutes, and then at 10, we have a high impact news event. And then from there, we'll go about our trading day. But again, welcome everyone. Glad you're back. Hope everyone had a good weekend. And let's get ready for the opening bell. All right, so as we can see from the opening last night, we have this gap that was created. So this is our new week opening gap for this week, going extending from 18,500 down to 18,465. We can see also overnight some of the levels that hadn't been reached. So we have previous day high gone, the lunch high from March 26th gone, the daily high from March 26th, nope, still there, has not been traded to. Thursday lunch high gone. I'll leave that there. Go ahead and put up the midnight and 8:30. And it's the last bit of business before the opening bell. All right, so the London low's been swept. The London high is available. Asia high just now pushed through. The Asia low on this candle pressed through. Oh, okay, actually take it back. I need to redo Asia because this is the Asia from Thursday night. So let's 20 until midnight. All right, so the Asia low has been traded through. So hi Molly, good morning. There we go. All right, we have the opening bell in just 30 seconds here. I don't think I'm gonna watch a solar eclipse because I'm not sure it's coming through my area. I watched one back. Oh, when was that? That must have been 2016, 17, one of those years. All right, here we are with the opening bell. All right, so we've already traded into half of this area so far. No. All right. Okay. Nice impulse candle here, right through the 15-minute fair value gap that was created just a couple hours ago on the way down. if it goes all the way to the midnight open. Let me move over to the 5-minute as well, so we get a few more candles here. Remember, we have high impact news coming at 10 for anyone who just joined. It looks like price traded right back into the zone from Thursday. It stayed in this area the entire day on Thursday. That's the same area that created the new week opening gap. Price traded back into it a little bit past consequent encroachment and straight out. All right, midnight open's been taken. There we go. So the new week opening gap overlapped a 1 hour fair value gap here. Okay, I need this one to extend further. All right, London high has also been taken. over 100 points now since the opening bell. I'm going to check over and see how the dollar is doing versus the other indices. All right, at the moment we have a major crack in correlation between indices. Right now we have Nasdaq is quite bullish, where we have the Dow doing the opposite, and the S&P is pretty neutral, just kind of sitting in the middle there. But we have the dollar. Dollar is leading the way as a bullish, looking for the swing high that we were pointing at earlier. So the fact that Nasdaq's also buying, it's good to hang out for a while and not jump into the market. We also have a high impact news event coming in about 20 minutes. And hopefully the pairs will somehow come back together at that point. But right now they're definitely doing the opposite of one another. All right, let's see if it tests the midnight open to go higher, or if it breaks through and we start looking at these fair value gaps below. Hey, Stores, good morning. Hey, Vivian. Trades by AZ. Hey, Caesar, good morning. Oh, sweet. 45 points, J Stores. Good job. Way to go. Yeah, it looks like the entry on on this one here is coming from, well, there's two spots. There was a breaker that was formed. Let me find it. Here. This series of candles. So this would have been Wednesday evening at the close. And then we had the following day where it just traded below. So we had that as a potential entry, or if you didn't use the breaker, and then you potentially could have used the unmitigated area. So this area here, after price took off, it never came back to trade into this area. So you'd have been looking at this here as an area price would want to trade back into, at least to balance out price. And it went a tick or two past, maybe a point. Yep. So again, this is the last leg, pretty much after 4 o'clock or 3:30 until the closing bell on Thursday. That moved down, and then we had the opening. Then we had yesterday's opening. Open up here, leaving this gap here. Price starts to trade back down. It wants to mitigate this area, and it touched down on the 50% mark, and then continued upwards. So those seem to be the entries if you're looking to get in at the opening bell. And then from there, price ran up to the midnight open as well as taking out the London high. So we still have the Asia high that has not been touched. And we also have the high from March 26th. And also, if you're an OTE trader, maybe you was able to catch an entry as well. Yep. So then you end up with an entry right at the 83.5 mark, right in that sweet spot. Pretty much low risk with the small stop loss. Would have also yielded a winning trade. So there were several different ways you could have got into this trade this morning if you like to trade the opening range. And that's purely getting in at the bottom. If you wanted to make an entry anytime after, because when it took off, there was no retracement. So if you didn't get in at the very bottom, you had to get in somewhere along the way up, and you find your way in whatever way is comfortable for you. whether it's an order block, whether it's a small retracement on a smaller time frame, uh, smaller breaker on a smaller time frame, however it works for you. But there are also entry models and ways to get in when price is trending like that. Lunchtime correction. Just stores. Not really sure. I need to follow the dollar, but remember we have a high impact news event coming in 10 minutes. So based on that, we'll see what's in store for price today. But yeah, I'm with Vivian. We haven't seen an opening bell move like that in quite some time. All right, right now we have this area being tested for a bullish fair value gap on the 5 minute. All right, thank you, everyone who's hit the like button so far. Appreciate you. Right. So we have about just under 5 minutes before the next news event is released. So I'm going to run and refill my coffee. So I'm back before that happens, and then we'll take trading from there, starting at 10. I'll be right back. Just in time. All right, let's see if the news event pushes us through the Asia high and the March 26 high, or if we get the opposite reaction where it just pushes lower. Let me check on the dollar and see if I can get any information from them. All right, but just before the opening bell comes, I just want everyone to see what I'm talking about as far as the relationship between the pairs not being tight right now. You can see the Dow is just completely dropped, whereas we see the opposite happening on Nasdaq, where Nasdaq is just running towards uh, overnight highs, whereas the dollar is now going for lows of last week. And S&P is just kind of neutral. You can see for the hour, the candle hasn't really done much. It traded lower, traded back to the opening of the hour, and now it's just kind of sitting there. And the dollar obviously is being bullish right now. So we get back over and we can see what this news event brings us. We got about 10 seconds. All right, so we had a push into the 1 hour fair value gap. All right, not as strong as an opening as I would have thought it would have had, but that could be because some of it was related to the 930. Unless it's a delayed reaction. So let's see if in the next minute or two, we start getting some movement here. Okay, so the dollar is without a doubt reacting right now. Right, look at this. The dollar is out of the screen. This is 2 minutes into the candle. The dollar has put in a candle larger than anything is done since the Thursday impulse at the news event in the morning at 8 o'clock. All right, we see the Dow following suit selling. We see even the S&P following suit selling, and we should see the same from NQ. So those highs will likely hold for at least a bit, the Asia high as well as the March 26th. And then we're going to probably fill in some of these fair value gaps that were just created over the last half hour. Okay. We're still pushing higher. It's now at 104.9. It's I had my weekend markup. I had the dollar reaching as high as possibly 105 flat or 105.5. But I had no idea it would run there Monday morning. Like we're getting ready to get another test of the midnight open here. Looking for price to fail here. Okay, there's the retest of the midnight open. Now, where does price want to go? Oh, Fuego, how's it going? It's been a minute. How are you? Hey, what's going on? Hey, stores? Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm doing the same. I want to let the market show me something before I engage. Mainly because we had a holiday on Friday where the market was closed. We had a high impact news event on the same day that the market was closed. And now here we are, the day after. Even the day after sometimes can be a little, I don't know, a little choppy there. But um, just waiting for the market to settle down, and then I'll see how I want to do. Usually, when I jump in at the first sight of my setup or something, it doesn't work out well for me. So, trying to take it slow. Hey, does he really want to go above the midnight open or not? Right, first thing first is sweeping the low here at 546. This is a 5-minute fair value gap here inside of a larger 1 hour fair value gap and just above the new week open in the lime green area. Yeah, Queen is MIA this morning. Maybe she traded the London session. But I do know she's not a big fan of the morning, just because it's her lowest strike rate, the New York AM, and she doesn't like to trade news. So maybe she saw the 10 o'clock news event and figured she'd stay away for a bit. But usually she joins around 10:30, maybe 11 at the latest. Really? Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to get this to become a breaker here. So you can, sir. Hey, good morning. How's it going? Hmm. Alrighty. Anybody take this sell off the midnight open here? Yeah, I took this sell here on my demo account, and those things always every time it happens, you say, "Oh man, I should have did it in my live account." Every time, but uh, it was good for me to get an intro into the market this morning without having to put live funds on the table. I only did that because of how strong the dollar was pushing upwards and buying up, and we had all the indices, at least at the start of the hour, they were all selling, and so I just felt like we were going to get a turtle soup here, and we did. It pushed above the midnight open only to slam down. I think I got in over here on the previous candle. So I was in drawdown for a couple minutes, and then it went the right direction. It was it was based off of this swing low being taken when it broke through with an impulse. You always want impulse. It broke through an impulse and closed below, and so then I just waited for a retracement back to this level at 578. And I think I got in once here, and then when it retraced up a little bit more, I got in for two more contracts and ended up taking three contracts down. So the breaker could actually be this one, or it could be this grouping. I think I'm more inclined to use the grouping here. Yeah, I use this breaker here as well as to come up with the exit point for this downwards movement. So the all of my exits were in this range here. Oh, you took it, Molly. Okay, excellent. Good job. At the current moment, don't see I don't see a trade to take. I mean, there's always something you could do, but I don't see one that seems high probability to me. Okay, you know what? I didn't even think about this. So if we drop down, so the low that was broken, I was just talking about, and I took an entry on the return after breaking that low, right? So remember from 9:50 until 10:10 is the macro time period, and we traded back into the macro. Oh, I'm sorry, during the macro period, we traded back to this part here at 10:07, 10:08. So this was an entry during the macro time period. So yeah, I still have a bias towards taking entries during that time period. If I see a setup that I like, and it's in that time period, I just feel so much better about it. And so as much as I like this breaker here for a long, unless this happens 20 minutes from now, I'm not interested. Ah, there she is. Good morning, Queen. Mm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if anyone caught this one. We were just, Molly and I were just talking about catching the short from here. Short right around right at the end of the macro. Hey, Ray, good morning. Welcome. Mm. Yeah, I saw dollar at the news event at 10. Dollar just ripped one and just took off. And so earlier, when I was during the weekend, when I was looking at where the dollar may want to go, I had 105 flat marked out, and then in 105 and a half if it just continued throughout the week. Those are my two levels for the dollar. But yeah, that first one you're talking about, 105 975 or 105 flat is you're right. It's right there almost. Mhm. Yeah, Mondays can be slow, and oftentimes Monday doesn't include any high impact news events. So the impulse legs or the expansions are kind of hit or miss, and they kind of come whenever they come, as opposed to having predicted times when it happens. But Mondays can still be good. But you're right. I think the last couple Mondays were a little slower than usual. But we have a new month, we have a new quarter, we have a new everything starting today. So that could be partially why price has been loosened up. But again, remember, we did also have a high impact news driver on Friday when there wasn't any market activity. So that could also kind of be figuring into price action today. All right, we're getting ready to get to consequent encroachment of the breaker here. $18,477. Oh yeah. You're right, Quinn. I think it hit it by like a couple ticks or so, and then turned around and kind of sprinted to the top. I didn't have it marked out, but once it hit, and you zoom out on the charts, it was so easy to see. But yeah, I didn't have it marked out pre-market like you did. Yeah, you had an S&D range sitting right inside of also the new week opening gap and a 1 hour fair value gap. It was so much sitting right on top of each other that it was a sweet entry for anyone who was able to get that. All right, let's see if these equal lows get swept right here. Look like maybe it'll take out these equal lows now, or maybe not. So far, we have price trading down into the last price leg before the big push up, mitigating this entire price range. And let's see if this holds price or if it loses it and it continues to go lower. All right, Queen, congrats on meeting your goals so early. Oh, okay. Yeah, when I looked at the London session, I wasn't sure if people were able to find good setups or not. Like sometimes you see it and you can tell there was an impulse somewhere around 3 o'clock, and you're like, okay, they probably caught that part. But if it was, just a 30, 40 point move back and forth, I'm usually not able to tell if you had enough of a range to make what you were trying to get. All right, we'll see if we can get a recovery on this candle. Back to the top of the range here. Yeah, go ahead and get that extra hour of sleep in. And first time. Oh, okay. All right. So now the rest of the globe is on back aligned with our time again. Okay, that makes sense. Benson. Doing good. Good, Benson. How are you? Um, I definitely it's possible to help someone pass their funding. I can't say that the people who have passed their funding is because of me, but there's been several people in this room who have passed their funding accounts over the last weeks and months. So it's definitely possible. And there's plenty of people in this room also who can help you if you have any questions or if you are uh, getting caught up on a particular issue or something in trading. I mean, there are plenty of people who can give you some advice on how to move forward, whether it's how to be patient, how to tame your psychology, how to, where to place stop losses, those kind of things. Like there are people who can help. I'm with you, Queen. Let's do it. Let's do it. I have told myself that I need to start placing my stop loss and letting the trade do what it does as opposed to me trying to micromanage it, because it's not helping me and it's ultimately not helping my trading. Patience does pay. You're right. So do small wins. Small wins pay too. Yep. All right, let's do it. April's a new month, it's a new quarter, and it's a new opportunity to achieve your goals. Oh, Miss Healthy, good morning. All right, we have macro in about 2.5 minutes here. All right, so dollar has reached its objective, or at least one of them. It took out the high from Wednesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day high. So rejection off the 8:30 open here, just about 5 minutes ago. All right, see if we get a sweep of this low down at 480, 18,480. Yep, let's not forget we're also inside of the new week opening gap, so that extends down as far as 18,465. So we may see price at least push that far just to close in the gap. Right now, if we have swept lows here, let's see if during this macro period we get a push back up to the 830. All right, we're currently inside of a bullish fair value gap on, let's see, the daily, 4 hour, and the 1 hour. Yep, you're right, Queen. On the 1 hour, we have equal lows at 450. So, yeah, potentially that could be also be a landing spot for price. The trade down there, sweeping those lows, and then we'll see how it reacts. All right, everyone, I'm going to run and get my last cup of coffee this morning. We still have another 15 minutes in the macro here. We're 5 minutes away from the next hour, from the 11 o'clock hour. So while I'm away refilling my coffee, take this moment to like the stream if you haven't already. If you're brand new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back in just 2 to 3 minutes. So it's 11 o'clock now. We cross over to the next hour. We have another 10 minutes on the macro. Hey, Benson, tell me a little bit about your trading. What's your trading style and how long have you been at this? Right. So with the closure down here, now we potentially have the breaker flipping from bullish to bearish. Go back up, check on the dollar here. All right, so S&P is already taken previous day low, whereas we have not taken a previous day low yet. Let me go ahead and mark that off. And that's at 18447, which is what Queen was talking about as a level that had equal lows that we've been looking at. This area right here. So from the afternoon of Thursday. All right, we put in 4 consecutive down wicks here. Looks like a rejection from moving lower, right at the edge of the new week opening gap at 18,465. Stretch this back across. Let's see if price wants to dig through and disrespect this breaker here. Remember, we are still in the macro for another 2 minutes. Okay, so a touch consequent encroachment of the breaker. All right, so from consequent encroachment, it's already delivered 20 points or 80 ticks. The bottom of this new week opening gap. All right, there's the 25 points or 100 ticks already. All right, if we can make it down to previous day low, that'll be 40, just over 40 points. Macro's over. Let's go ahead and shift these down to the next macro period. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that, Ray. Yeah, I didn't take the entry even though it was in the macro period, just because it did flip. I was looking for the macro to validate and activate the bullish breaker. But I did see the breaker form itself, and it was in the macro period. So I just wanted to call that out, but I didn't take it just because I didn't want to flip what I was trying to do like on the spot there. I'd much rather just let it go since I wasn't prepared for it. But I do see the previous day low there as a low hanging fruit. S&P and Dow have both swept their previous day low already from Thursday, and Nasdaq is the last one that has not done it. Plus, on the dollar side, the dollar has easily swept the previous day high. What's going on, Devin? Good morning. Welcome to the stream. 353. Oh wow. Okay. I don't think I looked that far down. Let me pull up one of my other screens. Oh, okay. I see. All right. So in order to do so, we have to invalidate the bullish breaker that we used last week. The breaker from Wednesday around 3 o'clock. We have to invalidate that one down around 420, 18420, between 18420 and 18390. There it is. Previous day lows now been touched. All right, 60 points from the consequent encroachment of the breaker here. 60 points delivered so far. All right, we have 27th. What's this, Wednesday? Wednesday's lunch low as well as the Wednesday low just below us down at 392 and 378. All right, well, let's go back and take a look at where the other indices are trading now. All right, we can see the dollar is still looking bullish here on the far left. If we look just to its right on the Dow, see previous day low was swept during the 9 o'clock hour. During the opening bell, it took out the previous day low. And then S&P took out the previous day low last hour. And then finally, during this hour, we have Nasdaq following suit, sweeping the previous day low. So now all have taken previous day low. And we'll see where they want to settle. But let's get back over to the chart. Two session lows. Yes. I think you're talking about the same ones, Queen, and I'm talking about the March 27 lunch low and the March 27th daily low. Yeah, so we're trading basically between the ranges of the high on Tuesday and the low on Wednesday. That big leg down is where we're trading. Once it opened yesterday at 1800, we started building up towards the height, and you can see we fell just short of sweeping those highs from Tuesday, and now we're targeting pushing towards the lows of Wednesday. Good morning. About 80 points. All right. All right. Let's see if this candle becomes an impulse candle, if it can continue to push, potentially getting back inside of the new week opening gap, the lime green area. Hmm. Yeah, 550. Yeah, that wasn't enough. It wanted to run through the midnight open. And you can't see it here now, but before there was the London open, which was right in this range somewhere. Let me see. Or the London high, I'm sorry. So it was here at 602, 18602. So that's really where it ran to the London open here. Tapped into that zone 3 different times and then traded down. All right, we have a good follow-up candle, it looks like. Now we just have to see if it makes it up to the new week opening gap, whether it can break through the fair value gap that's going to try to resist price. Just one, a dot, just one. Oh, no. Nope, not 20. Sorry. And I don't have Apex. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see how things continue to develop. Maybe by this summer we could be moving towards that level where we're looking at, you know, 500,000 in funding or something like that. But right now we're not close to that. All right, so we have traded back into the new week opening gap, past the bearish fair value gap that was created here. Let's see if it can close above. We have another 30 seconds or so. Okay, we got about another half hour left on this morning stream. So about another half hour for the morning session. All right, good closure on that candle. Now let's see what this follow-up candle does. Whether it continues to hold in support inside of the new week opening gap and build on that, or whether it crashes. Ooh, dollar still pushing higher. Now it's up to 105.03. S&P and Nasdaq are both rejecting. They both pushed down pretty low this hour so far, which obviously we can see here. And now it's rejecting and pushing up. We have the same price action on S&P, and the Dow so far for this hour is resting, sitting idle. Now at 11:06 candle. Yeah, I figured it was right here. I figured because we have a swing high, but on a bearish candle we have a swing high, and so I was like, on a lower time frame, I bet you this is a breaker. This candle was overtaken 18,461. I figured there was a change in state of delivery there, at least on the 1-2 minute time frames. And then you get a retracement back down to this high here, which really could give you an entry for a bullish run if that's what you were looking for. But I haven't looked for a market structure shift. Let me take a peek. So far, good progress during the first minute here. Potentially. I might take a bullish breaker if we get one. It just really depends. Depends on where it is. If it's aligned with a fair value gap or something on the 1 hour. Also, it depends on if it activates or provides an entry during the break, or sorry, during the macro period. Or 60. Yeah, sure did. It delivered 60 ticks almost immediately. Uh, there you go. Yeah, it's kind of the precursor to a market structure shift. You're going to get a change in state of delivery first. And so if you're unfamiliar with that term, look it up on YouTube. You'll find plenty of tutorials about it. Um, but generally, that's what it is. It's the early stages of a market structure shift. Oh, it gave you 100 ticks. Okay. Is that because you went in with 2 contracts? Is that why? Or, okay, no, you might be looking at it at a lower time frame. So your change in state of delivery happened all the way down here. 76. How do I get in at 50? Yeah. Okay. That's true. You could have got in at 50 and got out at 75. So yeah, it did give 100 ticks. You're right. Yeah, I was looking at it on the 5 minute, but on the 1 minute, it did deliver 25 points or 100 ticks. Yep. 11:23 candle. Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's where I had it as well. Oh, you got in at 55. I see. 55. I don't know. Maybe we have different charts. Mine only went to 76. Maybe the micros are slightly different numbers. But I do like this entry here at the fair value gap at 454. So the very next candle or the following candle, they both traded down right into this area. So change in state of delivery for anyone concerned is we have this swing high here on the move down. The last swing high is right here. And we had a push above and a close above on this candle. When this candle closes, that then has not done a market structure shift, but it has shown that now this this bearish price structure has changed. And so now this change in state of delivery is delivering bullish prices back into the new week opening gap and back down. In fact, what is this? Yeah, sorry. That's it. Yeah, back into the new week opening gap, and then price started to turn bearish again and push out of the zone. But if you notice this on the 1 minute that it took over this high, you could have taken a scalp essentially in this fair value gap right here and just taken it up to either one of these highs, this fair value gap. I don't know if you see this one, right? Or something else in the range. But or you could have just blanketed and say, hey, I'll take it for 15 points. I'll take it for 20 points or whatever based on your back testing. If you back test the change in state of delivery, you can see what it normally delivers, even if it's not reversing price structure. Because to break market structure, we would have needed to get up to this level. Oh, TJ's in. What's going on, TJ? Good morning. Order block 1124 could have worked also. Yep, you're right. You are right about that, Catalano. All right, TJ. Yeah, we'll catch you this afternoon. So we got about another 15 minutes on this morning session. We'll see what price wants to do in the next 5 to 7, and then the macro comes just before lunch. Price may not be done with this area just yet. Okay. All right. Just before we go to the macro here, let's just take one last look at the other indices. If we look here at the dollar, let's start there. Please look at the momentum the dollar is carrying now. Ever since the news event was announced at 10, you can see even this hour, it's continuing to follow up. I had 105 flat marked, which it achieved last hour. And then I have 105.5, which is, it's pretty high up here, but it doesn't look too far out of reach. And I had that as my weekly levels. And here we are still morning session on Monday. All right. And based on that, I'm looking for prices to continue to push lower here. Even though all three indices have taken out the previous day's low from last Thursday. And now we're just waiting to see if they want to continue lower. Nasdaq here is having issues moving higher. It previously traded out of the breaker. It traded back up into this unmitigated S&D zone here. And now it's just kind of moving sideways. We have the macro coming up in just a couple minutes, or 1 minute exactly. And we'll see if price starts moving at that time. Here we go, 1150. enough to push price higher. All right. Did tap into half of it. Great sweep of relative equal lows here. See if that supports price. It really depends. Depends on how things continue to develop during this time here. We are headed into the lunch hour, right? Where we may see some of these highs swept during that hour, maybe back up to the 8:30 open. So all the way up to this high at 510. But let's continue to watch price develop and we'll see. But it may want to get lower prices in order to go back higher. It may want to still make a sweep. All right, so liquidity's been grabbed now. So now if it wants to go higher, it most certainly will. However, if we don't see anything soon, then that's not what it's trying to do. Just then we'll know that price is looking for liquidity much lower, where we still have the March 27th lunch low that was never taken. And then the daily low for March 27th as well, down at 378 and 392. Okay. All right, about 3 more minutes remaining. Just going to look at what this 5 minutes is going to look like. Yeah, so it's going to be these candles. So this could become a bullish breaker. Could be, if price is able to trade through and close above. So we need a closure above 470. 470 to go bullish. All right. So anyone who prefers to trade or likes to trade during lunch or able to trade during lunch, you get a trade above 470, then you can use this as a bullish breaker. But that's only if price doesn't want to continue pushing lower. So let's see what happens here. Let's get back down to the lower frame. And looks like we just got a new influx of traders in. Welcome all new traders. Welcome to the channel. Okay. Looks like price wants to continue pushing lower. So the breaker is not activated just yet. All right, everyone, that'll do it for our morning session. For everyone who joined just recently in the last hour or so, make sure that you click the thumbs up like button. And also, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do so you always get invitations for all of our live sessions, whether it's in the morning or New York PM sessions. And so with that being said, we're going to take a break for an hour. We're going to let all of you who trade during the lunch hour, good luck. I'll be back at 1300. There should be an invitation out already. If you want to join the afternoon session, go and look for that invitation, and I'll see you in an hour. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.